Everyone wants to know what the Money in the Bank pay-per-view is going to look like. We have a couple images we're going to throw on the screen in just a little bit. And we also have another story about WWE employee asking the government to possibly shut down the tapings because they don't feel safe. It's a lot of interesting stuff, guys, but we're going to talk about it and address the rumor as well. So make sure you stay tuned.
Get notified every time a new video drops. Make sure you click that subscribe button and ring the bell for more pro wrestling news.
Arrived at your destination.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy Ango. The tip jar, DPW Plus, Facebook, Instagram, social media, all of that good stuff is in the description down below. And with that being said, guys, let's take a look at a few of the photos for Money in the Bank. Now, I find this to be a very interesting close-up because when you look at this image right here on the screen, WWE has kind of like the baseball stadium lighting. Kind of resembles that in my opinion. They got a whole bunch of trees planted right behind the ring. Obviously, there's the ring, the Money in the Bank briefcases, but what I find very interesting is there's a lack of production and more of the natural beauty. So obviously with the trees, the lighting underneath the trees, and the skyline, I think is a very, very beautiful design. I think this is going to be a very big shock to a lot of fans because WWE is literally trying something so different during such a tough time. And I think that's kind of the beautiful thing about AEW and WWE right now. Working during a pandemic, really, I get it. I understand the million reasons why they shouldn't do it. But selfishly, as a wrestling fan, it is cool to see that these companies are trying something different. This image right here makes me feel like the hard cam, like this is where the hard cam is going to be. Which makes a lot of sense when you compare it to the image that's right here. This is like an overview shot. So if you look at the image on this screen, this is more of like an overview close-up of the Money in the Bank briefcases. I think WWE is going to have a lot of aerial shots, meaning a lot of the camera shots are going to be from above the ring. But I think when we go back to this image right here, this is probably the hard cam, which I think more than likely this is going to be a pretty sick design for a stage. And I think I'm very intrigued to see how WWE pulls this off. As you guys know, WWE Money in the Bank is pre-taped. So WWE is making some major changes to the way that they're doing their content for the foreseeable future. They're trying to make it where employees and wrestlers can work less dates and travel less often. So when you look at some of these pictures, it gets you kind of excited about Money in the Bank because this is literally just so unlike WWE. And I really want to make a great point to this, guys. When it comes to WWE and Money in the Bank in general, this is one of the most important pay-per-views for WWE because it does a lot long-term for the company if they choose to plan long-term. So of course, with this match, we don't know all of the participants, at least for the men's side, but I know that when you look at some of the names on this list, like Apollo Crews, for example, when you see a guy like that on the list, this match could literally make or break his career. And because he is starting to get somewhat of a push on Raw, this is one of those things that is very intriguing about the match itself, especially when you consider a guy like Aleister Black, who has been recently getting pushed. It almost makes you think that WWE might really go forward with the idea of putting the belt on somebody who is not expected to win. Now, when I look at this image, and when I look at this image more specifically, I can envision the Planet's champion, Daniel Bryan, holding the men's briefcase. That's what I expect in this case. Like when I see this picture, if we still had the eco-friendly Daniel Bryan, that's the guy I see celebrating in the ring with the Money in the Bank briefcase. But that's why I think pro wrestling at this time, it's like, it's a very different form of entertainment because sports are gone. Pro wrestling is around. Fans are not a fan. People aren't fans of pro wrestling without the crowd, but at the end of the day, it's the only show that's really going forward. I mean, it's really, really tough to be a fan right now, but I'm going to watch Money in the Bank. I personally am intrigued by Money in the Bank. We'll go back to one of these photos right here. So this is the entire overview shot. So on the right side where the curtain is, it's just, they're sticking really smooth with the green lighting, and it's obviously Money in the Bank, so green and white. The skyline, I think, is really sick. So I'm really intrigued to see kind of what happens with Money in the Bank. But guys, we have another story in this video, and I thought it was very, very interesting because right now, and actually I'll pull up the tweet too. There was a report that basically WWE had an employee who reached out to the state of Florida and asked them to shut down the tapings because they didn't feel safe, they didn't feel essential, and they feel like they can't speak to their bosses about it because they'd be getting fired. Now, WrestleVotes, who, as you guys know, literally for a very long time on Twitter, has been putting out some incredible news, things that have really come to fruition over time. And as of about an hour ago, WrestleVotes confirmed, regardless of the suspected employee complaint rumors from a direct source in the know, exact quote, they have not forced anybody to work during this time. So that sounds a lot like what we have read on social media, that WWE basically right now is not forcing anybody to work during the pandemic, but those who want to work will be able to work. And I think this is one of the reasons why, especially when you watch Raw and SmackDown, you're starting to see a couple names actually show up that haven't really been on TV. WWE's episode of Raw 2 weeks in a row has been pushing Austin Theory, Angel Garza, Andrade, and Zelina Vega. When you watch SmackDown, you're starting to see an influx of new superstars, and you're also starting to see some familiar NXT Performance Center faces. So guys like Shane Thornton, Brennan Vink. I almost had a mind fart. But yeah, Brennan Vink, you see these guys. You see Kaden, what's her name? Kaden Carter or whatever. You see some of these names that are from WWE, NXT, or the Performance Center, and they're even getting some spotlight. So yeah, you're not seeing Edge or Randy Orton or this guy, that guy. You're not seeing a lot of big names, but right now they are putting a lot of the smaller guys in the list. And, that's why I think guys like Apollo Crews and guys like Aleister Black continue to get a little bit more love right now, because they are on a platform where a lot of times, I think in a sense they are being rewarded, because during a pandemic, a lot of people aren't working. I don't think WWE genuinely has a problem with it. I think they all know the seriousness of this. I think it's a big reason why Roman Reigns is not part of the show. I think it's a main reason why they're not discussing Roman Reigns, because they don't want to get too politically involved with it. But I think this is also, the pandemic could be a blessing for some of these guys who haven't been used on TV quite often, or guys who haven't been, winning matches quite often. And that's kind of the beautiful thing with like the pairing of Cedric Alexander and Ricochet, because these guys were both getting allegedly buried, and then they come back as a tag team, and now during a pandemic they're kicking some ass and they're doing some cool stuff. So I think at the end of the day, obviously WWE being safe is the most important thing. Obviously being healthy is one of the most important things. So in this situation, I've read a lot about WWE and how they continue to really just change the game with testing and a whole bunch of stuff, with the show, and the way that they are, cleaning the ring after every match and whatever it may be. And when you see that WWE is taking this approach, just as AEW is, both companies, obviously it would be easier to not have the show continue, but it's not a big deal at this point. We got into the point where I think everybody knows that pro wrestling without a crowd is going to go on. So do it the safest way possible, and hopefully it gets better. I don't know what the right answer is to this, guys, but I do know for a fact that selfishly, as a fan, I'm going to continue enjoying the show. I've really enjoyed Raw and SmackDown these last few weeks, and honestly, I've enjoyed it more without the crowd than with the crowd. So my personal viewing experience is different than everybody's, but again, obviously we want everybody to be safe, and it's a good thing to hear that both companies have taken really, really strong they've taken a really strong stance on making sure things are nice, clean, and healthy for everybody. So ultimately, I'm really curious to see what happens, guys. Money in the Bank, again, I'll show you guys the pictures just in case if you fast forward the video. This is the overview shot. This right here is the close-up. This is what I expect to be the hard cam, which I think makes a lot of sense. And then the photo right here. Sorry for that little technical issue. But right here, we got the little overview aerial shot of the briefcases. Again, I think it's going to look really cool with the city overlapping. I'm really curious if WWE will do fireworks or pyro because it is outside. I'm very intrigued. I'm going to assume no. But I really wanted you guys to see that. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Over 500 new subscribers these past few days. Thank you guys so much for your support. I'm super excited about producing more content. This is going to be fun, guys. Don't forget, if you want to join DPW Plus, $1, $2, or $5, choose a tier. DPW 24/7 Championship, TNT Championship, World Championship, whatever you want. Crown yourself victorious. It's your boy Ango, guys, and I will see you next time. Thank you for watching.
Get notified every time a new video drops. Make sure you click that subscribe button and ring the bell for more pro wrestling news.
You have arrived at your destination.